Hello ladies and gents, I'm the Dapper Rat. I don't have any funny quip this time, so I guess we'll get into it. I'm making the funnest heroes tier list, alright? The objective most fun heroes you could possibly play, or not just play, fun heroes to play and play against. So we're gonna be balancing those two things to at least give it a little bit of a potential, a little bit of potential objectivity, even though it's still completely subjective, just to make it like a little bit more fun. So it's not something as simple as like, oh, this character is very cool, they're S tier, because that character could fucking suck to play against. They could really fucking blow to play against. Or alternatively, there might be a character that is fun to play against, but that's because the character is dog shit. Anyways, let's just begin. It's pretty simple. We'll go down the list, A to fucking Y, and we're gonna skip the Hero Labs characters because they're not really part of the game yet. I mean, they're in the game, but they're not part of the game. I don't know why Boho's here. Is Boho in Hero Labs? I'm gonna have to check this right after this video. I don't think she's in Hero Labs. If she is, that's crazy. But starting off with Abrams, immediately we're gonna go C tier. I think. Okay, we'll do we'll do S tier, best character ever. And for the D tier, we're gonna go sucks ass. Perfect. So in that case, I'm gonna put Abrams in A tier. I think he's fun to play as and fun to play into. Not the most fun to play as, definitely one of the most fun to play into though. So I am gonna dog his smart a little bit. He's probably like an A+ in my books. I find punching builds, which is what Abrams usually use, really fun, because it's high risk, high reward, and as someone on the defending side, I feel like I have a lot of say on how much damage I'm about to take because of the parry system. There's certain perks that makes it so that even if you don't build like a whole bunch of melee damage, you can still compete with him even if you're not close range, because if you get rebuttal, then you're returning that damage you parried back into him. I believe it's rebuttal that does that. And then there's also counter spell to help with his with his pin if he does do it. Now, where the fun does teeters when he has stuff like Warp Stone and Phantom Strike, where he just teleports onto you and instantly pins you. That's kind of annoying. But outside of those items that make his kit really toxic, his actual base kit is pretty fun to play against. It's pretty fun to play against, especially once you've played against an Abrams for a while, and like you know that they're gonna fake the first punch, the first heavy, so then they fake it, and then they go for another heavy and you parry, but they fake that one as well, or they don't fake it and you parry it, or you know they're gonna fake it, so then you don't parry again. Playing against Abrams feels like playing like a fighting game and stuff like that, so it's really fun. Someone who also kind of sits in that category though is Apollo, and I think I think Apollo's S tier fun to play. Just base kit parry is really fucking cool. His movement's really cool. He's got that fucking anime/ultimate that makes you feel like the biggest loser ever, but also really cool at the same time. For playing against, it's not too bad. It's not necessarily fun like it is Abrams. Like Abrams has a lot of fun aspects to play against, but with Apollo, I don't really think there's too many fun interactions I have when trying to defend myself or trying to kill him. So I think I'll actually, I think I'll keep him in A tier. Probably below Abrams. I think overall Abrams gets a higher score on technicality, but Apollo is way more fun in my opinion than to play than Abrams, but less fun than Abrams to play against. Whereas Abrams is not as fun to play, but way more fun to play against. Bebop. Bebop is kind of like a main. I'm not even gonna lie. Bebop, I think, Bebop and Paradox are like my most played heroes. So like I've been playing them basically since the start of the alpha playtest. There's a few characters that I liked a bit more and that I played more often back then, but Bebop was kind of like my first love, if you will. Or actually, that's not even a treat. Paradox is my first love. I love Paradox since day one. But Paradox was hard to pick up and play. Bebop's pretty easy to pick up and play. Anyways, is he fun to play as? It depends. I feel like the suicide bomb era that we had for a while was really fun, where you could self-cast your bomb and then move faster and stuff like that. It made it so that he had a kind of a high risk, not so much a high risk, high reward, but basically it let him get in close and be able to not have to deal with things like what was it, debuff remover, which is now dispel magic and works a bit different. But that era was super fun, and bomb Bebop is still viable, but now it's back to requiring the items like a majestic leap. That's what people used to run on Bebop when they wanted to run Side Bomb, because you didn't have the movement speed to just run up to somebody. So what you would often do is that you would use Majestic Leap, jump up in the air, apply 2 bombs to yourself, and just dive bomb into the fucking enemy team and explode, and then try and get away. So I get it's still technically alive, but the running up to them was way more fun than just applying bombs to yourself and Majestic Leaping in, I will say. So Side Bomb Bebop, not as fun. I hope I'm not like low-key getting demonetized for saying suicide. I think I'm gonna bleep those. Yeah, probably gonna bleep those a little bit. Maybe I'll put text on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna bleep those because that might fuck over my channel a little bit. Anyways, then there's other ones. Hook Bebop, the ones, so like gun and anything that applies around, like, oh, you hook them in, you hit them with the silence, you fucking you attach a bomb and then you punch them away. Not super fun. Sometimes hitting those super long hooks feels good, but those are often not skill and just matter of like luck, really, because of the movement speed of his hook. You know, you hear it and he has to have line of sight on you for the most part. So you hear the hook, you see it coming, you move out of the way. And when I say long hooks, I mean like max range, like the ones where you grab them from downtown and fucking pull them back to like lane. So then there's Creep Bop. Creep Bop is pretty fun. One of my most fun playstyles. This one it has more to do with being invisible and having a lot of sprint speed. It's similar to the Suicide Bop, but the like fuck, dude, I keep saying it. It's close to the one where you like sacrifice yourself and strap bombs to yourself. It's close to that one, but the difference is that you're trying to sneak up on the person, attach bombs to them, and then run away, instead of like, you know, not really worrying about them not knowing you're there and instead being crazy and just going in and blowing up. I will say though, playing against Bebop sucks. It is so horrible. So definitely not B tier. It sucks so bad. It might be D. But he does have fun playstyles, and I feel like if they shifted him around a bit, he could become fun again. I would say like D+, C- for Bebop. I'm gonna put him in C because I know there's some other characters I absolutely despise that I want to put below him. But, okay, next is Billy. I actually quite like Billy on both ends. I think not necessarily need, but the kind of, he likes to melee a lot. So, and just like Abrams, having someone that melees a lot means that you kind of have to like get in their head a little bit to be able to parry them and punish them heavily for it, which is nice. And he's super fun to play as. He's very dynamic. He works as a tank. Like he is a carry, but you don't have to play him as a carry. So it's like if you load up as Billy and then your other teammates are like Haze, Drifter, and fucking Venator, you can take the backseat. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the carry, or you know, or I guess better example would be like Haze and Infernus 7. Like you don't have to be the carry of the team, and you can still operate very well. I think I'm gonna put Billy in A tier. Yeah, I think above Paul. I've placed him perfectly just by accident there. Calico. B tier. Were fun to play as. For any of the characters that kind of just pull up and kill you, it is somewhat fun. Like guaranteed kill you, not like Bebop, where Bebop runs up to you, he has to build those stacks in order to be able to guarantee kill you. But like Calico, characters like Pocket, maybe Haze if she's a little fed, they kind of just walk up to you and then you go back to spawn. That's basically the gameplay loop. against these characters, and as these characters you pull up and then you kill someone and then you leave. So fun to play against, not really. Fun to play as, kinda. I would say B-, maybe C+. I'm gonna keep her in B for now though. Celeste is my favorite of the new heroes from the, was it New Blood Old Gods or something update? The most recent update that added Apollo, Celeste, Graves, Rem, and Silver, and Venator. She's my favorite of them. Is she fun to play against? Not necessarily. It's kind of meh. You know, I don't really get mad playing against her or anything like that. I don't find it super like annoying to play against her in any way. So she's not like Calico where I'm minding my own business, she pulls up and then I explode. But I do find her incredibly fun to play as. I like her movement and everything like that. That's super fun to run around more so than any other character. Maybe with the exception of like Viscous. So I think we put Celeste, or at least I would put Celeste A tier, maybe above Billy. Yeah, above Apollo. Ooh, Apollo's really fun, but a little annoying to play against. I think I put her above Apollo. Okay, now, when Doorman was my favorite of the last 6 drop by a long shot. Doorman was like my favorite character when he dropped, pretty much. I sunk so many hours into Doorman immediately. Playing against him fucking blows. Playing against him is like D tier, just that long ass stun that he puts you in the in the domain expansion, and then when you get out you get jumped, you know. Fun to put people in it, sucks to be put in it. The cart stun, fun to hit, sucks to be hit by it. The bell, pretty satisfying to hit, sucks to be hit by it. The door's really funny to escape with, very annoying when he escapes using it. I think he ultimately comes out as just an even B tier, because playing him, best character ever. Playing against him, super duper unfun. Absolutely despise it. He's the kind of like the perfect medium of like, man, I hate playing against this character, but I love playing as him. Drifter, I'm initially gonna say C tier. He's just boring. He's not really fun to play as. You get a TP, you get close range damage with his slash, you get more. This is how it's gonna be for most of the gun characters. You kind of just sit there and hold M1. You know, you press your ability buttons and then you just hold M1. There's not really much to it. His ult is a little fun to play against, you know, it's a little spooky. Like I like the atmosphere that it creates and stuff like that. I don't think it's too overpowered. Some people make it a big deal, but I don't think it's that. I feel like if you're a high enough level where Drifter's ult really heavily affects you, then you're also high enough level to communicate with your team and not let Drifter's ult affect you. And if you're so low level that Drifter's ult affects you, then I guess it could be annoying, but I also feel like you're a casual enough player that you're like, oh man, this is spooky and cool, you know what I mean? So there's like an even point between it. I like the atmosphere of it. I don't know what that means about my skill level based on what I just said, but I like the atmosphere of it. And I don't think it's the most horrid thing to deal with. Sometimes, you know, I'm in Phantom, people sometimes talk, people sometimes don't talk. Because it's always like Drifter pops his ult, and then somebody on your team calls like just keep pushing, or somebody on your team calls a pull back, and then either everybody as a team pulls back or everybody as a team pushes forward, and then it's like Drifter ult didn't really do anything just because you had a call. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put him in C tier. You could argue above Bebop, but because he's not fun to play like at all in my opinion, I think I'm gonna put him below Bebop. Dynamo. Honestly, pretty fun to play into. I don't mind his ult. I don't mind entangling or quantum entanglement. His heal is for the most part fine. He kind of blows to play into as in lane, but also kind of sucks to play as in lane, which is funny. And kinetic pulse is so reactable, and you can double jump over it, or you can counter spell it and stuff like that. He is a support through and through. And so I feel like that makes him pretty inoffensive. I find him fun to play as because of his team wiping potential and stuff with his when he's playing with his team. I think he's in a solid spot. I would dare say he's gonna be our first S tier character, because there's not really many pain points I have with Dynamo at all, and I do find him fun to play as. And to play against is not that big a deal, and I feel like as you get better at the game, you get better at playing against Dynamo. So it feels good after a while, you know what I mean? You start double jumping his kinetic pulse, you start forcing out his quantum entanglement, and then using your ult, or then using this, or then using that, you know what I mean? Especially as a Bebop main, especially as someone that mained Bebop for a long time, quantum entanglement felt like a more fair version than debuff remover, because debuff remover, you basically never know if the person really has it up or not. They could have used it, they could have not used it, but with Dynamo, you basically know it's gonna be up, and then it's very apparent when he uses it. So Dynamo uses quantum entanglement, and then that's when you place your bombs on it. Or with Bebop, you would do bomb and echo shard, so you'd place a bomb onto Dynamo to force him to quantum entanglement, and then you use your echo shard and apply the other bomb so you can guarantee a stack off of him, or something like that. Not to mention, as Dynamo, it's fun to play into Bebop because you're able to save your teammates. You can pull them out of hook with quantum. You can save them from getting bombed with quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is one of the most fun abilities in the game, I feel like. Part to play as Dynamo and use, and partially to play into. Some people probably find it quite annoying. I don't mind it as much, because I see, coming from a hero shooter background, I see it as a cooldown that I have to force him to get out, and then I'm allowed to just fuck him up. Graves. Oh, C tier. Maybe even D tier. She kind of has the same issue as Drifter when playing as. Everything is kind of done for you. It's a lot of passive effect, even if you're actively using it. With the Drifter, he literally has a passive effect, but he has the aimable TP. Pretty cool. With Graves, ultimate, it just works itself. First ability, or fourth ability, works itself. First ability works itself. The wall can be quite fun, but people just double jump over it, so it doesn't really lock them down as much as it could. When they said that, because I think one of her things is that she's supposed to be not a disruptor, but like area controller is what they gave. I thought she was gonna have like bone walls and stuff like that, kind of like the Mei wall from Overwatch and whatnot. But they instead just went with a stun along the ground, which I guess is fine. I don't know. And then what's her third ability? Oh yeah, it's just the debuff on her gun that aims for you. So it just sucks to play as, and she's not super fun to it just sucks to play against, and she's not super fun to play as. So I think she's going to be a first D tier. That being said, I still play her. I still kind of enjoy her, I'm not going to lie. But she is just a brain shut off character. So it's like, I can play her for one match and probably have some fun and not feel too nasty, because I don't think she's too busted in terms of power. But like, after like on the third game, I'm like, dude, I need like some sort of stimulation, please. Joining her in D tier basically for the same reasons, but even worse because this guy is fucking both broken and like he's like a literal glass king. I fucking hate Greed Talon. Gun Talon, busted, broken. He just fucking jumps in the air and then shoots you for a bajillion damage with no need to aim. And is able to dash while airborne, unlike some other flying characters. Oh my god. And then he has his charge shot, which if he builds Spirit, can chunk you for like 800 a pop before like effects like Tank Buster and stuff like that, and Mystic Reverb. So he's chunking you for tanks like sometimes a third to a quarter of your health bar, and like if you're playing someone like Mina, half your HP before effects like Tank Buster and whatnot. Absolutely brutal. Has an execute with his ultimate, which is stupid because it's not like Shiv's, where not only does Shiv have to put himself in danger, but you have to meet the threshold and then he kills you. With Great Talon, he has to not put himself in danger and then do damage to get you to the threshold to kill you. So if his ultimate, or if Great Talon's bird, his fourth ability, does 400 damage and it executes at 22% health, you have to be at 22% health plus 400 damage for him to kill you. Oh, What? It's so stupid. It's so fucking dumb. And then his trap is, funnily enough, like the most interesting and innovative part of his kit, where he can actually do some cool things, but it's on such a long cooldown and it applies so many effects. Just in general, his kit applies so many effects. He has like fucking everything, and the only reason that he's not, like, depending on where you are skill level or what you're running or what your character is, Great Talon is either the most abusable and unplayable character to fucking play into, or you literally like play Calico or Pocket, you sneak up behind him and he gets sent to spawn immediately, and there's no in between for this guy. There's no in between. Great Talon's not C tier, he's not B tier, he's not A tier, he's either S or D, and there is no in between. Never. Ugh. Now, that's all the stuff that sucks about playing against, but what about playing as him? Surely it's super... No. You just sit there. He's another kind of drool on the keyboard character. I would say less so than Graves. You don't drool as much as you do when you're playing Graves, or like someone like Haze and stuff like that, because your cooldowns do matter, but at the same time, he's so busted that it's like... Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, his cooldowns matter, but also when the cooldown hits you for a quarter of your health bar and he has 5 charges of it, ugh, it's gross. No, fucking bottom of D tier. He's boring to play as. Like, it's just, it's boring to play as because it's literally the extremes. Either you're just running the lobby, of which, I mean, I guess if you have a big ego and you're like, oh man, I'm the best at this game, sure, he's fun, but... Or if you have a big ego and then you suck, then you're gonna fucking despise him, because the alternative is that you just get ass blasted by a character that's good at sneaking around. Haze. And also, I just want to point out, it's like every game, before Haze, with Great Talon, before we move on, with every game, why do they fuck up the bow and arrow characters? I love the bow and arrow, classic bow and arrow, love it. Every game I've played that has a bow and arrow character, the bow and arrow just sucks. It's either it's literally always DS. When a character has a bow and arrow in a game, they're either gonna be the worst character in the game or the best character in the game, and it doesn't matter what game you're playing so long as it's a shooter. Now, moving on to Haze, probably C tier. You have to aim, less than Drifter though, maybe above Graves. Honestly, probably equal to Graves. She does have to aim, unlike Graves, but it's like she has a movement ability that's practically a passive. Her third ability is a passive, just like Graves. Her fourth ability just plays for you, just like Graves. And her first ability usually do out of your invisibility, which is your second ability. So it's like easy to hit. It's not a big deal. It's basically also a passive, just like Graves and Haze are basically the same thing, just Haze has to aim a little bit more. And even then, you stun lock them with your sleep and then fuck them anyways. And then if your aim is bad, you just press your ultimate button or your fourth ability button, and then it doesn't matter anyways. So Haze and Graves, in my opinion, are probably even in terms of fun to play into and play against. Holliday. I'm probably gonna start off at B. Let's see. Crack shot, pretty fun to hit. You know, you generally speaking want to go for headshots anyways, but because she's a low fire rate character most of the time and has a low magazine size, it does kind of make going for headshots a little bit more risky than say someone like Haze, who has like a bajillion bullets. So it's like you can go for a headshot here and there easily. Both Holliday, it's like if you whiff the shot, that's a big portion of your damage. But if you hit the shot, it's also a big portion of your damage. So feast or famine, but kind of warrants having really good aim. I like that. It's not too bad. Powder keg has the capacity to be one of the coolest abilities. Is fucked over by the fact that if you just jump, press the ability, and then melee, it'll explode on impact. So it just becomes like, I don't know, a harder to use Great Talon ability, basically. Less damage, obviously. It's not hitting for 800 a pop. I think it kind of teeters around 300 to 400. Her jump pads are pretty fun. Nice bit of movement and stuff like that. I like her jump pads. Kind of makes her annoying to chase. The displacement of the barrels are super annoying because they pop you up and stop you from actually moving. So like you can dash and then get popped up by the barrel. The crack shot can be a little bit annoying because it's a big burst of damage, but at the same time, it's not too bad because, you know, if she hits that shot, you're not going to be hit with that same amount of burst damage for a while. Oh, not to mention that crack shot's cooldown keeps getting reduced for each consecutive headshot if you hit it tier 3, which warrants you to try and hit even more headshots and then making her even more feast or famine. So like you can choose to be very safe and like hit the headshot and then body shot, body shot, body shot. But if you really want to fuck somebody over, you do headshot, headshot, headshot. Like you'll do crack shot, headshot, 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 crack shot, headshot, 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 and it's just brutal. Her ultimate, pretty easy to hit, pretty simple. Kind of fun to use because you have to use it with teammates and stuff like that. Kind of not fun to go against. Kind of hard to avoid, but because of the delay, you can counterspell it. It's counterspellable. So that's pretty nice. A lot of her kit is counterspellable because you can predict it. I think that nets her in B, honestly. Probably top of B. I'd say like she's like A, fun to play, C, bad to play against. Nets her B. Not as polarizing as Doorman, but still pretty annoying. Infernus, I think I'm gonna put him in A tier. He's probably like one of the most fun gun characters to play. Because he has a lot of combo potential with his abilities. That being said, it does get pretty monotonous when you're running the same combo. You shoot, apply afterburn, and then you flame dash into them, apply napalm as your flame dash in between them, and then once your flame dash is over, you turn around and keep shooting them. And then I never really understood how to use his ult. I'm not even gonna cap. I feel like he has probably one of the hardest ults to properly use. It's more so of a mid-fight disruption ult, I feel. It's not much of an engagement ult, not much of a disengagement ult. It's good for 1v1s to kind of occupy the person that you're fighting. And then in team fights, you got to use it like a mid-fight ultimate where people are already like dispersed a little bit and a little bit shook. And then use your ultimate and they don't really know what to do about it. So, yeah. But overall, ult can be counterspelled. You can punch him during his flame dash, which gives you a little bit of power back. But it also makes it so that he can actually cancel his flame dash into a parry, which is pretty cool. I think there is a pain point with his flame dash though, and it's that the double jump does not stop you from getting hit by it. I think if they made that change, I'd be fine. I would say like Infernus is like high A tier, if there's a way to more easily avoid flame dash. But because there is not, he's probably going to be low A, high B. I'll say low A. He is pretty fun to play as. I think he's worthwhile of almost any of the carries to put time into and play. Ivy, one of my other mains, like because you're forced to pick a trio. My original trio was Ivy, Bebop, and Paradox. That was my trio. And Ivy, I would say, is probably my best character, even though she's the one that I played the least of the three. Possibly because she's very, very busted, but people don't realize how busted she is because she's kind of a background player. You know, they keep nerfing her gun here and there and whatnot because some people play her as a carry, as like a discount Vyper. But they don't realize that a lot of that power is in Kudzu Bomb, it's in her stone form, it's in her ultimate. Oh my god, her fourth ability is crazy. And her tether is not bad at all either. She is very dynamic with playstyles. She can build guns, she can build melee now with the recent changes. She can build tank, she can build support, she can build spirit damage, she can, I think I said gun already. You can literally make any build on Ivy and it will work. She has a little bit of everything, very dynamic, high mobility with her ultimate, able to save characters with her ultimate, able to stun people out of ultimates, out of this, out of that with her stone form. Good AoE pressure with her light CC. She's just all around pretty good. Playing against, is she annoying? Not overly. Like I said, people don't realize how strong she is because she's kind of a background player, which means you don't feel the effect of her kind of fucking you over very often unless it's a gun Ivy, because then they're like the instrument that is causing your pain. But as when like there's a support Ivy, you almost never realize that she's the reason that you are getting like butt fucked. So I think that kind of puts her bias over here. That kind of puts her in S tier. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of the support characters are near it or around the top, because they're more reliant on actually hitting good cooldowns and helping their team and playing with their team and doing stuff properly, whereas other characters that kind of drool on their keyboard and just hold one button are pretty fucking boring. So yeah, I think I've made a good point for IVB. That being said, playing as her, it can be a little. I'll move her down to A. Playing against her doesn't feel bad. Playing as her, it's a little fun. It's not amazing, you know what I mean? It's not like playing Dynamo where you stop this big play. Like as I said, when you're playing support Ivy as well, you're not the instrument of people's destruction, so you have to realize that a lot of your value comes indirectly towards you. So I think that kind of hampers it a bit, and we're gonna put her in A tier, maybe below Abrams. I really like playing Celeste, but I don't know how much of that is because she's new. With Celeste and Apollo, it's a little bit difficult because they're the newest to the cast. So I don't know, you know, maybe in like a month time, I'll be like, oh yeah, Ivy's way more fun than Celeste. But so yeah, so I'm gonna put it like that. Kelvin. His path, it can be one of the coolest abilities. I've seen some high level Kelvin plays where they're blocking off the entrances to like rejuve using their pathway, which is really cool. It allows your teammates to rotate a bit faster, so that's a pretty cool supportive aspect and stuff like that. I do like his ice path. His beam is annoying. Gun Kelvin was super annoying. I think it's been nerfed now. His bombs do pretty good damage, pretty good healing. His bombs are probably in a fine state. Not super annoying to play against, not super annoying to play into or play with. It's mainly the beam and the ultimate are his big issues. I hate beams. I hate beams so much. And then the beam applies a slow. Ugh, that's gross, dude. Why would they think that was a good idea? And then his ultimate is just Fight Club. But at the same time, he has some cool aspects when like you pair Kelvin up with a Victor if they're on the same team, or an Infernus if they're on the same team, or even if Kelvin, you can fuck up using your ult and trap your teammates in with an enemy Victor or an enemy Infernus, and then everything goes awry. So I do think he takes a little bit more brain power than quite a few other characters, but still not a whole lot. But there is skill expression, but he is annoying to play into. C tier, top of C tier. I say C plus. Lady Geist. I would think A. I kind of want to say D tier. Her ultimate is not that big of an issue. Like earlier on when I was dog shit at the game, her ult was a big issue. Didn't really know how to play with it. But once you silences or, you know, just space yourself out from her and stuff like that, especially, oh my god, the changes with the dashes. Because she has some of the slower dashes in the game now, that actually makes her a lot more viable to play into. Back when everybody had the same dash, it's like, oh, you just don't get near Lady Geist. Okay. Like, maybe for Grey Talon and Vindicta, but everybody else, their effective range is like a dash jump away. She can just dash jump at you, and then even if you dash jump away on reaction, she's gonna close that distance. Like, she is going to close that distance. So Lady Geist originally was pretty bad, but now with the stamina changes, if you're playing a more fluid character, you might struggle on Mo and Krill or some of the fatter characters. But if you're playing someone like Paige, if you're playing someone like Paradox, if you're playing someone like Seven, if you're playing someone like Sinclair or fucking, I don't know, probably one of the characters up here that are Holliday, playing Haze and whatnot, you have the chance to get away from her because her dash is slower than yours. So that makes her ult a little bit more difficult to use, and I like that. And you get punished for pushing her, but not punished for fighting her like you did before. Now, lifesteal on hit scan, no aim needed, just fucking attaches to you and steals your HP, kind of blows. It's not fun. Feels bad, honestly. A lot of the stuff where it's auto lock feels really bad. I don't think we've gone with an auto lock character yet. Auto locks are never fun to play against because you feel like you're being robbed of a certain amount of skill that you need to inhibit that the other person does not. Her bomb is super annoying, does a lot of damage in lane. It does damage to herself, but it's like none of this damage to herself really matters because she has that inherent lifesteal and also her ultimate, which just swaps health bars. So even if she's fucking up every part of her kit and just dropping her HP over and over and over and then gets lucky and gets close to you, then she just swaps health bars. So she can do no damage to you and then swap health bars with you, and do no damage to you and swap health bars. You can do no damage to her, she does no damage to you, and then she swaps health bars and you're at 30% HP. Ugh, brutal. Very annoying to play as, pretty boring to play, or very annoying to play against, pretty boring to play as, but overall I think that's just gonna place her near the top of D tier, honestly. Lash is an asshole, as everybody knows, but he's pretty fun to play as, really fun to play as actually. He has really fast tempo in the game, one of the few characters that really inhibits a dive to its T. Comes in, boom, burst of damage, gets out. Comes in, boom, burst of damage, gets out. Does that over and over. Pretty fun. Doesn't really have viable gun builds, which means that there's not a lot of Lash players that are drooling on the keyboard. The recent change that makes it so you can't like do a 180 when he's doing his slam, very nice. Makes him easier to play into and makes you have to be more accurate with his slam, which is harder from higher up, which is nice. Adds more counterplay. You can counterspell him, you can counterspell his ult. He can delay his ult to out counter your counter spell as well. There's a lot of things that you can do with Lash to make him better, and it's not an end-all be-all for a lot of characters. Not to mention his ult is very strong, his slam is very strong, his flog is really good, his mobility is really good. Super fun to play as, all around. I don't think anybody will really argue against that. Fun to play into, well as, yeah, for the most part, like as I brought up, Counterspell is kind of a fun ability to use and requires a little bit of skill, and there's ways that he can counter your counter spell, at least when it comes to his ultimate and such. Yeah, I'd say he's pretty fun to play into as well. Not horrible. You can also just good positioning, counters ultimate, make sure you're near some cover that you can get underneath so he can't see you and whatnot, especially if you know there's a Lash in play. So yeah, I think Lash is also going to be up here in S tier, and he has some really high highs just like Dynamo. McGinnis, another gun slob character where most of the kit plays itself. The wall is probably the most dynamic part of her kit, and even then it's a little bit clunky. It doesn't exactly work how you would expect it to work in some areas, but maybe I just haven't played enough of her. But other than that, you're mostly just holding M1 and letting your turrets do damage, healing players from time to time. It's not fun to play into, and it's very boring to play as. There's just not a lot going on with this character. Yeah, probably near the bottom with Grey Talon. Mina is pretty fun to play as, I'm not even gonna lie. Big burst of damage. Like, she is another character with a very easy tempo to realize, because you do that big burst of damage, you apply toxic bullets or whatever you have in your build with your gun, pow, 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 burst of damage, rake, and then get out. And because she's a glass cannon that is expected to go in, you're using your whole kit. You get in close, you do that burst damage, you rake, and you have to do all this within a well enough time frame that they're not going to fuck you over, and then you use your bats to teleport out, and then you wait for that cooldown to come back, and usually on your second pass you can get the kill so you don't have to use your bats again, or you wait for your bats to come back online, or you do a little bit of poking. Your ultimate is pretty good, not the strongest thing. Honestly, if I was to make one single nerf to Mina, it would be to make the silence of her ultimate like 0.2 seconds or 0.3 seconds or 0.1 seconds, something like that, just to make it so it's like having it at 3 seconds makes it so you're not just silenced for the duration of ult, but 3 seconds afterwards, which doesn't feel fair. I feel like I should be silenced while she's ulting me. I feel like that would be a lot more fair, and make it more of a team fight ultimate where you're using it with other people. So yes, you're doing damage, but using it with other people to silence you and let your teammates fuck them over. Yes, I want to encourage team play in this game, please. The silence does make her a bit annoying. The burst of damage is quite annoying. The rake is quite annoying. The bats does give her a lot of escape, but also because she's a glass cannon and you can kill her pretty easily if you catch her off guard or if she fucks something up, I think puts her in A tier. Above Infernus, yeah, above Billy. Yeah, I think this is matter of taste. I feel like right here, I feel like I've been kind of objective with placing Mina so far, but then matter of taste on kind of what you like about the playstyle and what you hate to play against her can kind of put her anywhere here in A tier. Mirage, another gun character. Basically any character, because Mina is also basically a gun character. She doesn't build gun, but it's like when you say gun, or when I say gun character, I more so mean M1. Most damage from M1, most damage from M1. It's just, and usually, and obviously Mirage, most damage from M1, but the big thing that makes them a gun character is that you can very easily tell because one of their abilities is a passive where it's like, your gun is just better. You just press M1 better. Like Mina gets the burst of damage, Infernus gets the afterburn, Haze just gets stacking bullet damage and burst of spirit as she stacks gun bullets on you. Drifter gets extra damage if you're alone. Mirage gets an extra burst of spirit damage for shooting you with his gun. So it's just, his ability is just, your gun is better. Kind of annoying, just makes it so that they're getting the literal value of what you have on a cooldown as ability for just pressing M1, which is kind of annoying because it feels like they have to learn less about their character in order to do the same amount of what would it be called, like output as you in terms of power and whatnot. Then he just has a stun, he has lifesteal. His lifesteal can be a little hard to hit, but usually you just stun people and then you just fucking unload your scarabs into them and then just start shooting them, or you save your stun to get away. His stun also works as like a counter kind of, so it's like you'll avoid damage and it gives you bullet evasion. And then his ultimate is just, I'm gonna teleport away. I don't really, you're kind of fucking me up, I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, I'm actually good. Same thing with Ivy. Ivy's ultimate is kind of like that. Sometimes you just fucking Ivy over and then she turns a corner, pops her ultimate, and then you turn around the corner and then she flies away. Ugh. It's fucking annoying. Super annoying. Makes him like one of the best split pushers in the game because he does crazy amounts of gun and spear damage, and then also if anybody presses him at all, he can just teleport back home and be completely safe. Not very... Doesn't take a lot of brain power to play, so not super fun to play into because there's also not much counterplay you can do about you. You can counter spell his tornado, I guess. You can silence his ultimate, but then that's just stopping him from playing his character, which is not necessarily fun for me. You know what I mean? Like, my fun isn't stopping you from playing your character. My fun is finding a way for me to, I guess, counter. I don't know, because I guess counter spell on, say, Lash stops him from using ground strike ever. With his ultimate, he has some counterplay, but it stops him from using ground strike ever because you just parry it. But I digress. I think Mirage is probably B tier. You drill on your keyboard and hold M1 until someone dies, and then if you're playing against him, you either have him hold M1 and drill on his keyboard until you die, or you fuck him up really bad and then he just presses his ultimate and gets away in safety. So it's just, it sucks. Maurice and Krill, to be completely honest with you, Mo and Krill's ult, like, both is like sucks and is really good. And it sucks because you have to be in such a close range. It doesn't really pull people out of position, which means if people have good positioning, you know, your ult isn't really gonna do a whole lot. But at the same time, he has stuff like Phantom Strike, he has stuff like Majestic Leap where he can pull you out, he has stuff with certain characters like Ivy where he can pull you out and stuff like that. More often than not, he's rolling around with like 2 people. So like, even if you're not super out of position, if you're in a farm or something, he just pulls up ults you, and then like Haze and Mina will just go to town on you. So that's really annoying. Gets lifesteal, burrow. His whole thing is basically just being unkillable, and then he has a disarm. Kind of boring to play as, not super fun to play into. I say also D tier. Probably the most fun. I would say probably even to Lady Geist in my opinion. I don't find him super fun to play as, not super fun to play against. Paige. Okay. It really depends, because there's a moment in time when Pages didn't really run knockdown as part of their kit, and instead of as a counter item, because they're support. Paige is a big support player, So it's like they would buy knockdown and use on 7, but then eventually Paige start to realize that like, oh, if someone shows up, I can just press knockdown and walk after them, and then once they get stunned, I can force my next stun on them, and then either Echo Shard and stun them again, or I can toss my fire on them. Like, she just becomes... She gets knocked down, and it's like, oh, no more fun for you. So you kind of have to get Dispel Magic to play against Paiges now, if you want to play the game. Or you have to have like a goated Dynamo or a goated Viscous, someone that can save you from these stuns. That being said, is she fun to play as? For the most part, yeah. It's fun to support your team and help them out, and you know, you can get some really cool dragon bounces off of walls and hit some niche areas without putting yourself in too much danger. Her stun can be fun to hit when you're not doing the knockdown slop. It's very cool to hit that stun, especially because it's pretty noticeable and easy to get out of. Her ultimate, you know, because it's one of the longer cooldown ultimates, sometimes you get some of that ultimate paralysis, or her fourth ability, sorry, has a long cooldown. You kind of get that ultimate paralysis, so you're like, oh, should I ult? Oh, I don't know if I should ult. More often than not, though, it's always like, just pop your ult if it's gonna help, you know? Just pop it off cooldown, basically. More often than not. Even with Dynamos, a big struggle for like early game Dynamos, that they're like, oh dude, if I'm not ulting 4 people or more, then I'm wasting my ult. But realistically, as you get higher ranks, you realize that, dude, one guy caught out by himself, just ult him. Fuck that guy. You know what I mean? You and somebody else pull up, you know, your Dynamo running around with your 7, you're just like, fuck this guy in particular. You ult him. Unless they have like rejuve up or something like that, and your ult is needed, and your ult is protecting rejuvenator from being taken by the enemy team. Anyways, who was I talking about? Oh yeah, Paige. Her ultimate's pretty good, but has some of that ultimate paralysis. I would say probably B tier, middle of the road. Pretty fun to play as, kind of annoying to play against. B tier, maybe A tier, low A, B plus, A minus. Paradox. Ugh, what they've done to my boy. How they've massacred my boy. Oh my god, dude. I remember when Paradox had like fucking several viable builds. You had people playing Punch Paradox, people playing Brawl Paradox, people playing Tank Paradox, people playing this, people playing that. Now it's just like Carbine. It's Carbine. You walk around, she has like the same issue as like Paige. You walk around with like your carry, power up your Carbine, you get it ready. You find someone, you apply knockdown to them. Once the knockdown happens, you shoot them with your gun. So it takes longer for them to get out of the stun. And then you just place down your wall, you press your ultimate, you drag them into your teammate that is going to be like Drifter. So now that you put them in a 1v1 with Drifter, silence them, did like fucking 50% of their health bar, and Drifter's just going to molest them and kill them. And that's her whole gameplay loop now. And there's not much you can change about it. Melee Paradox and Tank Paradox still does kind of work, and is the more or less feast or famine type of playstyle, but it is a little bit unorthodox. Oh, unorthodox for Paradox to play. But the rest of her, like, you just kind of build gun, use Carbine, drag into team. Build gun, use Carbine, drag into team. They kind of fucked over a lot of her playstyles. In the name of balance, which is fine because they did have to nerf certain parts of her kit, but now there's like only one viable build left, which is kind of annoying. And then because of that, she's completely based on her team, so it's good. Like for example with Mina, I want her ultimate nerf, so her ultimate's more of a team fight based ultimate, but then the rest of her kit is more of a solo fight based, you know what I mean? But with Paradox, it's like all team based. it's all team based. So it's kind of iffy. You're just always playing with your team. Kind of like Mo and Krill, but now you don't have the tankiness, and you're not like tanking a whole bunch of CC and this and that for your team. So you're not even applying that much. Like all of her, she's more so like Bebop, where like all of her, or like 80% of her viability comes from the fact that she just pulls somebody away from their team and into her team, and then her team fucks them. Pake is basically just Calico. They're basically the exact same character. There's not much difference between them, really. Team fight, pop ultimate. Other than that, sneak up on somebody and fuck them. That's it. Same gameplay loop, really. Yeah, is it fun to play as? Yeah, for the most part. Does it suck to play against? Yeah, for the most part. A lot like Calico. So, low B, like B minus. Rem is pretty fun. Rem is pretty fun. The soft CC on his pillow is pretty cool, especially because it's not coming out every 0.5 seconds like Holliday's bomb, and it's less of a pop-up, so like he can fuck it up and help you and stuff like that. It doesn't pop you up, it pops you away. So if he hits you directly with it, it's gonna push you away from him, which is also good for him. Sometimes somebody's right on top of you, hit him with the pillow and you push him away a little bit. So, you know, it's a very dynamic ability. Pillow toss, pretty goated. The little helpers, really goated, pretty cool. Lets you steal farms safely, lets you attack boxes, lets you buy items. Super dynamic build, lets you strengthen waves, strengthen teammates. Super cool ability. The tag along is also really cool. You're able to help your teammates, and while you can't shoot or use most of your abilities while doing it, you can use all your items and stuff like that. So that forces him to, or not forces him, but encourages him to buy items and use those items really, really well, which is very cool. It really signifies the support playstyle with him, and then you can still use your little helpers to extend it and stuff like that. Really, the only change that I wish there was for Rem was that he had a bit of a grace period when hopping off of somebody with Talon, because sometimes your teammates aren't communicating well, they're just out of line of sight and you really need to help somebody. So being able to jump off of your teammate and then still go into tag along onto somebody else, giving it like probably like a 1 second window after hopping off of somebody that you're able to grab onto somebody else, would be nice. But I digress. Pretty fine. Ultimate, super annoying, not gonna lie. Ultimate is super annoying, mainly because it slows down your dashes and stuff like that. So while it doesn't lock them out completely, it's kind of like if Rem ults right in front of you, your best course of action is to just tank that shit. That being said, counterspellable. You might want to counterspell is really good against a lot of the casts. So if there's a Rem, you can basically full counters ult just with the counterspell, especially because he can't like proc his ult early like Lash. So it makes his ult more play intuable. Super annoying to play against? Nah, you know, lane kind of sucks because he can strengthen the troopers and then you're like unloading 3 to 4 clips into a trooper to kill them. But overall, I wouldn't say too bad. Low A, high B. I'll give him a A minus. 7. Fun to play as? He's another M1 gun character. You know, his third ability is gun but better. His second ability is a like auto lock stun at medium range. It's not even a close range one. I think something that would make 7 way more fun is if they made his stun a projectile, even if it was like a quick projectile, not a super fast one, but a quick projectile. Just so that like you have to use your brain. You know what I mean? Because right now playing 7, all you do is you just, someone appears on your screen, you press 2 and you apply your stun to them, and then you press 3 because you want your gun to do more damage, and then you just kind of follow them and shoot them, and then right before they get stunned you just shit out your 1 at them because that's going to just add extra damage. And then if too many people get near you, just press your ultimate button and then fuck them all. So most of it's auto lock. Not super fun to play as. Fun to play against? Not really. I would probably, yeah, put him maybe above Haze. He's cooler, in my opinion. I think that's his only saving grace. Maybe above Geist and Krill, because he's got that aura. Not gonna lie. If you're a gooner, probably like Haze more than 7. But if you're not, 7's pretty dope. He has that cool dash as well. Oh, that dash is sick. That's why I wish he was a bit more dynamic in how you use your abilities and whatnot. Shiv is super interesting because he has one of the longest tempos in the game. I think only beat out by Victor. If you play hero shooters, you might know what I mean by tempo. But like, a lot of these characters, like Lash has a super fast tempo. In, out, in, out, in, out. Shiv, it's like in, and you're fighting for like 15-20 seconds. You're there to stick it, and then afterwards you're like, alright, I've had enough. And then you back off and you wait like 40 seconds, and then you go back in. You're like, alright, I'm about to fight for another 20 seconds. Very long tempos, very unique compared to a lot of the other characters, which is very cool. you know, his have kind of the same issue as Abrams, in an aspect where it's like third ability is just more tankiness, which is kind of uninteresting. But his knives, not too bad. Projectile does a good amount of damage. You can stack them, so you're rewarded for trying to hit them. And kind of the counterplay is to get out of line of sight and make sure that you can't stack multiple knives to bleed you out really heavily. His dash does a crazy amount of damage, and then all of his abilities gain extra like not notifications. What the fuck? Gain extra like kind of augments them. There we go. Gets extra augments if his rage fills up. The execute, not super fun to play against. No execute really is. Silver, probably the only like I struggle to even call her an M1 character, but she is an M1 character. I feel like the recent buffs to her, not very necessary, because kind of the thing with Silver is that her base kit, she has two forms. Her ultimate is a transformation, and it gives you a complete new set of 1, 2, and 3 for your abilities. So, but the way you get your ultimate is by building up damage, and her ultimate was the stronger form. It did way more damage. You're able to debuff enemies. You got lifesteal. You got a big heal when you went into it. You got way more HP, which basically gave her this playstyle where you're weaker than everybody in your base form, but stronger than everybody in your wolf form. So the struggle against Silver was like, okay, we gotta kill her. We gotta kill her before she builds up enough ult charge. But then she builds up the ult charge, and you're like, oh shit, we gotta back up. We gotta back up. We gotta get away. We gotta stop her. We gotta stop this. We gotta stop that. We can't really fight her. If we fight her, she's just gonna murder us all. And so that was the fun part of Silver, even playing as her. You're like, oh my god, I have to make sure I get this before these people kill me. I gotta hit my shots, I gotta hit my abilities, and I don't have a lot of ammo. My fire rate is low, my abilities are a little bit tough to hit. So it added this cool aspect where you're working towards becoming overpowered in every single fight that you play, with a relatively quick tempo on top of it. So she was honestly, I would say, pretty fun to play as, and not too bad to play against. Probably not S tier. Yeah, probably somewhere in A tier. I'd rate her above Billy. I like playing her more than Billy. I like playing against her more than Billy. Yeah. I like playing Apollo way more though. But yeah. Sinclair. Oh, okay. This is a little bit difficult. Sinclair I liked for a long time. And in one of these recent patches, I don't know exactly which one. I don't even know if it was said in the in what's it called, in the patch notes. But at some point, they made Sinclair's Vexing Bolt, his first ability, they made it way more accurate. Beforehand, that shit was like working against you half the time. Where you're like, oh, I want to send the bolt here, and it's like, actually, I'm just gonna launch into this wall randomly. I know you're trying to hit the guy on the left, but fuck it, let's just hit the wall on the right for no reason. Let's just go in the opposite direction. Not necessarily that bad, but Sinclair players would know what I mean. You want to hit a certain spot, and I think the way that they should have done Sinclair is no auto lock. I don't think they should have auto lock on Vexing Bolt, and it has auto lock right now, and the auto lock was made better, which makes him busted, super duper busted, because you're placing down your assistant, you're tossing out a Vexing Bolt, which at max damage is doing 500 times 2 because of your you have your assistant out, and she also sends one, so you're hitting people with an auto lock for 1,000 damage on a charged ability. Are we fucking for real right now? Talk about doing a third of like some of the tankiest characters' health bar. That's like that's like 27 to 32% of Victor's health bar, give or take what build he's using. Ugh, excuse me, bro. What the fuck? You know what I mean? And then he can amplify that damage if he turns you into a bunny, which stops you from using your stamina bars as well. Makes it even harder for you to avoid an auto lock ability. Oh my god, he's brutal now. He's brutal now. I think Sinclair, you get rid of that auto lock, but have the trajectory go back towards your cursor, and a little bit of that intelligence from the computer, not necessarily AI. Okay. But a little bit of that coding to understand that, like, oh yeah, I'm kind of pointing behind this cover. Like, I'm pointing at this cover, but I want it to go behind it and stuff like that would be nice. But not auto-locking onto people, dude. Like, please. Because there are times when you send out your bolt, and what you would want to do beforehand when the auto-lock was really bad is that you'd want to, like, put it behind the person. So you sent out the bolt, you know they're going to dash backwards. So you're trying to look behind them and send out the bolt, but because it auto-locks on their current position, it comes back, and then they just dash underneath the bolt. and it's brutal. The TP is kind of annoying. They did well by making it so that silences and stuff like that will stop him from teleporting when he has this assistant out. Not a lot of people seem to know that, even in Phantom. So it's like sometimes you just push walkers for free. Sometimes you'll push them with your assistant. Other times you just place the assistant down like fucking miles away, and you're just basically just like Doorman or Mirage, and you just walk up to the walker, you shoot it a bit, hit it with what you have, and then like 6 people pull up and you're just like, all right, deuces, and teleport halfway across the map. Ultimate is really cool. I think the cooldown needs to be longer. It gives you 50% of the copied cooldown. I think it should be 75%, and sometimes I don't even know if it's 50%, because I swear to God, like, you'll copy Paige's ult and it's like, all right, yeah, that was a good ultimate, I can give you 30-second cooldown for that one, and you're like, bro, what? Her base cooldown is like 200 seconds and you're gonna give it to me every 30? What the fuck? Turn that shit back up, make it like 75%, especially because a lot of Sinclairs are running transcendent cooldown anyways to make their all their abilities be lower, because like if you don't use transcendent cooldown, like you have assist on like what, like a 30 or 24 second cooldown, somewhere around there, 20 to 30 seconds, quite long. Bunny is on like a 20-30 second cooldown. I think it's they're both like 30 and then they get minus 10 seconds, so they're 20. And then Vexing Bolt, you know, you can drop it down to I think 13 seconds with transcendent cooldown. Sinclair was another character that I played a lot, by the way, if you could not tell. So yeah, Sinclair probably needs some nerfs. Fun to play against? Not really. Kind of annoying to play against. Actually very annoying to play against. Probably do need counter spell against him, but even then, because he has multiple charges, kind of like Great Talon, doesn't even matter, because he's gonna hit you like if you block one of the 3 1000 damage bolts, that's still 2 grand that he's going to hit you with. That's an auto lock. Ugh, that's gross, dude. Playing against or playing as him, pretty fun, and he has some fun builds. You know, you got some of those like some of those Sinclairs that be turning into a bunny and punching you. Those weirdos. I'd be doing that sometimes. That shit's funny. I'll give him. I think C+, B- for Sinclair now. Venator, another gun character. Funnily enough, though, the only gun character that doesn't have an ability that's gun but better, but that's because all of his abilities scale with gun anyway. So you're building gun. You're building gun at the end of the day. Ultimate, brutal. Even with the nerfs, brutal. Yeah, let me just hit you for a grand. At least it's an ultimate though, and not Sinclair's first ability, and not Great Talon's first ability. It is an ultimate, luckily. But like a grand, 3 times double gulp, fuck me.
4 cup, 5 cup, 5 times double gulp, fuck me.
Oh my god. Then he just has a grenade that does a lot of damage. Traps. The traps are pretty fun, not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of traps. The shotgun is also pretty cool with the stun on the wall. Fun to play into. Not too bad. The atmosphere, a lot like Drifter, the atmosphere when he pops his ult, scary. It's kind of like Vindicta's ultimate as well. Scary. You hear him pop his ult, you're like, oh god. He's gonna diddle me. He's gonna diddle me like a priest. So, I'm thinking probably low B tier. Probably, yeah, low B tier seems correct. Victor, yeah, probably low C tier. Fun to play as. You kind of get a unique, like, hero identity. So for some people, I feel like they're gonna like him a lot. But you know, does mostly AOE damage that follows him around. Not a whole lot aim needed because his pain battery is an explosion, or not an explosion, is a shotgun. He gets a heal that debuffs him, which is super duper annoying. Oh god. And then he just has a second life as his ultimate. He's like Shiv, has one of the longest tempos in game. Like you can just fight for like a minute straight. Not super fun to play as, not super dynamic. You know, you just kind of pop your abilities, run at the enemy, and then you die. You come back to life with your ultimate and then you run away from the enemy. Not super fun to play into because then he just follows you around until you die or until you kill him, and then he might follow you around a little bit more and kill you, or he runs away. Not super fun. Not super fun. There's not a whole lot going on with the kid. It's all pretty basic. Vindicta, she can be very annoying, but also like you run knockdown, you sneak up on her a lot like Great Talon, she'll explode. She's another glass cannon. tether can be a little bit brutal, not too horrible. Counterspellable, reactable counterspell. Her ultimate can be brutal, counterspellable, prediction counterspell. So it's not reactable, which kind of makes it more fun. It makes it so like if you counterspell a Vindicta ult, she has to sit there and be like, dude, this guy's nuts. I can't even lie. Like, she can't be mad about it. She's like, yo. Like, all I had to do was wait like half a second and he dies, but he knew I was going to shoot right then and there, and then he parried it. That guy was crazy. So I will say a little bit fun. Crow is a little bit annoying, and then she's a gun character, so she has the flight, gun but better. I'll put her probably middle of the pack, B tier. She's like the more fun to play against Great Talon. A lot more counterplay, a lot less crazy intense burst damage. And then her execute is not the most egregious thing in the game at all. Viscous. Oh, honestly, probably S tier contender. Super fun to play as. Crazy amount of movement. Crazy amount of movement. He's like one of the few characters that feels like you can scale indefinitely with getting better with him. He has plenty of different playstyles, from the support Viscous to punch Viscous to spirit Viscous with his splatter. He has big util with his ultimate and with his punches and with his cube. Viscous is just solid all around to play against and has a very high skill ceiling for you to learn. Pretty high skill floor as well for you to learn, but that makes him all the more interesting in my opinion. And then playing against him, parryable punches, which is really nice. Whoever came up with that idea at Valve, good shit. I like that you can parry his punches to avoid getting the knockback and taking the damage. You can counterspell his splatter pretty consistently. You can avoid his ball pretty consistently. But at the same time, if he's good on Viscous, he's going to know how you're going to avoid the ball. So then it becomes a little bit of a mind game. And then the cube is not too bad because it still applies stuns through it and whatnot. It doesn't apply an egregious amount of healing, and it just saves the character. And more often than not, unless Viscous pairs the cube with a rescue beam, he's not going to be like saving somebody from imminent death more often than not. I think S tier contender. Honestly, probably the most fun character. One of the most fun characters to play into and to play as. Easily up there. Vyper. Oh, fuck. Oh. The only gun character with an ability that's not just gun but better, partially. But because of that, her gun is just busted. Everybody else kind of teeters around like 500 DPS with like a crazy build max level. Vyper will just walk up to you like, yeah, 900 DPS raw before any added effects. Yeah, buddy. 900 DPS and then burst fire on top of it. And then fucking this on top of it. And then this on top of it. Yeah, buddy. Plus, I'm removing some of that bullet resist. Yeah. Plus, I'm slowing you down. Plus, I have infinite ammo because I'm sliding everywhere. Plus, if I shoot you with enough bullets, then it applies an execute. Yeah, or it's not necessarily an execute, but like something that does more damage the less health you have. Yeah. And if my aim somehow is so bad that I can't shoot you with my gun, but you are low HP, then I can just hit you with that more damage the lower HP you are on hit scan auto lock. Kind of like Seven's thing, at a pretty medium range too. I don't even have to be right in front of you like Geist ult. I can just fucking do it from pretty far away. And then my ultimate will just counter anything you do. Yeah, I just hit you with it, petrify. Goodbye. Say goodbye to whatever you're doing. It doesn't happen anymore. AIDS to play as. AIDS to play into. Absolute AIDS. Probably one of my least favorite characters. It's like really close to like Great Talon, McGinnis. Honestly, Mirage I could put like up higher. It's just, yeah. Probably like this. Oh my god, like these three are like top. Maybe honestly, probably for me, I'd rather fight McGinnis and Great Talon, dude. These two characters are like the bane of my existence. I hate them both, dude. I hate them both. And then they have the same thing where it's like, or not even necessarily the same thing, but if there's a bad Vyper, which you can usually like suss out by the fact that you can just slaughter them off cooldown and they can't do anything about it. Does Vyper take a lot of brain power to play as, or is she fun to play as, or does she have like interesting stuff? Well, she has her auto lock ability. She has the screw jabber, which is a fast projectile and you're up close anyway, so it's kind of hit scan. And then she has the slide, which is just infinite ammo and a lot of movement whenever she wants, but not necessarily dynamic movement like say Viscous or like Celeste or anything like that. It's just basic movement. You just do stuff pretty much quicker. Her ultimate takes a bit of aim, is a little bit slower, but also it becomes an AoE effect after a while, so D tier. D tier. Warden. I also hate Warden. It's all the super basic characters. He's another like kind of gun spirit character. The kit kind of plays itself. Has a flask that stops people from running away. Has a lockdown ability to stop people from running away that lets him do more damage. He has an ability that just gives him more HP, kind of like Celeste, but it's less dynamic because it's just more HP. So like for Celeste, sometimes her HP pool, where like she gives herself a barrier, on explosion, it'll silence people around her. So sometimes you go into a fight knowing you're about to take a heavy amount of damage, pop that, and you're like, yeah, fuck me up, do it, I fucking dare you. And then you explode and you silence everybody around you. So it has an active use, not just a passive use. Warden doesn't have that. It's just a passive use. Just give me more HP. And then his ultimate is just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stand here for a little bit. You can do it during Majestic Leap if you don't want to stand there for a little bit. And then anybody in front of me will give me lifesteal. And I take less damage during it. Super annoying. Probably close to McGinnis, close to Mirage, around this area. Hate playing against them. Hate playing against them. Wraith. Okay. Okay. Wraith, for a while, probably the most fun carry to play against. Probably around, more so around Infernus. She was like probably battling Infernus for the most fun spot. Then they made it so that capacitor completely stops you from using stamina, and now she just is absolutely horrid to play against. Because Wraith gets capacitor, and all she does is she just walks up to you, presses her ult button, and as soon as you slam into the ground, hits you with capacitor, and then you have to just stand there and look at her and watch her rail you with no contest. You can't shoot back, you can't use abilities, and you can't move. You just have to stand there. Oh yeah, please fuck me. What the fuck? Who thought of that shit, dude? Oh my god. Beforehand, she popped the ult. You can't shoot, you can't use your abilities, but you could still move. So your movement was like your key part. Let me hit cover here, let me jump around here, make myself hard to hit. Now it's just not, now you just stand there. Oh yeah, please cram it in dry. Oh, thank you so much. Freaking AIDS, dude. Actually AIDS. Whereas for Kent, not too bad. You know, pretty good gun damage. She has the gun but better button, as a lot of people. TP can be a little bit annoying, but it's not 100% an escape every single time. You know, if you get hit with a dubious knockdown or a little bit of this or a little bit of that, it can be a little bit brutal. People position well. Like if someone's chasing you, they might have their teammate further up on the, I've done that with a couple of my teammates where I see them chase Wraith more towards our side or something like that, where I peel further into the enemy side and wait for the Wraith to teleport to me, and I finish the job. Yeah, I think there are ways to avoid it and stuff like that, using cover properly and stuff and whatnot. And then there's also ways for you to kind of hit your cards better as Wraith. It's just that combo, dude. I think I'll put her like low C tier. If capacitor never made your stamina bars lock, easily A tier. But as soon as they added that change, it's like D+, C-. Horrible. Yamato. Counterspell is like the hard counter to Yamato. I've seen gun Yamatos, and I guess I never spoke about gun Calico, but basically like kids like Yamato, Calico, you know, their guns are pretty good and you can build their guns, but you just have to realize that you're a bitch and a pussy if you do. Yeah, pretty dynamic hit, pretty cool charge attack so that you can counterspell the charge both at the same time. If she pops it early, then it's difficult. So if you try to parry the early charged slash, then you might get hit with the full charge slash. Pretty brutal. You can debuff remove her tether and stuff like that. Pretty dynamic, pretty fun to play against, pretty fast tempo. You know, you're relying a lot on your movement to try and avoid a bit of damage. Her ultimate is just, you know, do her whole kit, but a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, more resistance, immune to CC, which is really nice. Fun to play as? Yeah, probably A tier, probably one of the more fun characters, S tier even. Very fun to play as. Fun to play against. B. A tier. I think we place her in A tier for fun. Yeah, somewhere around here. A lot of these characters are interchangeable. If I was basing it on just fun, I think I would play Celeste in S tier, like a fun to play as. But because she's not super dynamic to play against, unlike a couple of these other characters, you know, lower. I'm not going to do the hero testing characters because seeing how they affect team fights and how they play around the map and stuff like that is obviously yet to be decided. So this is the end of the video. Let me know what you think about my tier list on the most fun characters. Clearly, most fun, Viscous, Lash, Dynamo. You know, if you see a team, they have those 3 players on it, you're like, man, that team is having so much fun. They're enjoying themselves so much right now. But yeah, so I guess I'll leave this video here. You know, let me know your thoughts. Tell me how much of an idiot I am and how, you know, tell me, Haze player, tell me how fun your character is to hold M1. Tell me how fun it is. Tell me how you like pressing your 4 and then just watching a cutscene on your screen. Wow, that's pretty cool. The game is playing itself. Yeah, tell me about that. But yeah, I digress. Thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed, like and subscribe. This was more of a down low or low key video or whatever. I need to take a break from doing the guides because the what's it called, take forever, dude. The scripts and whatnot and coming up with ideas and figuring out how I want to explain things takes quite a bit of time, so I need kind of a break video, and this is that break video, so there's not a whole lot of editing in this video. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you liked it, like and subscribe and whatnot, and hit the notification bell, all that fucking good stuff. Thank you all for watching. I've been the Dapper Rat, and as always, farewell, ladies and gents.